a strange pile of seeds. When I came to, I realized I had accidentally stepped on the edge of the dragon droppings. How disgusting! I sprinted away from the stinky pile as fast as my paws could carry me and jumped into a nearby brook, still wearing my armor. My paws stunk so badly that even the fish swam away from me. Even though I was in the brook, I was still feeling stinky. I swam over to a waterfall and let the freezing cold water stink into my fur. Cheese niblets, it was cold. When I got out, I sat down in a patch of sun to dry myself off. It was warm and cozy. Within minutes, I was snoring away. I dreamed I was eating a cheese Danish hot out of the oven. When I woke up, I was drooling. How humiliating. Then I saw something on the other side of the brook. A clue. The clue was more dragon dung. This time I didn't even have to get really close to know it was fresh. P.U. The smell was worse than a sewer rat's gym locker. A few minutes later, I noticed that even closer to me, there was a strange pile of seeds and red skins. I took off my glasses to clean them and almost fell right into the pile. When I put them on, I realized the small mountain was made from the remains of a huge pile of hot peppers. Who likes red peppers? Dragons do. I had found another clue. At that minute, my eyes began to burn from being near the peppers. Tears rolled down my fur and I began sneezing like crazy. Achoo! Oh, poor me. My nose felt like it was on fire and I couldn't stop sneezing. Hurry, Knight, jump into the water, Sterling said. So I did. Unfortunately, the sun didn't have warmed up the crook. It was still freezing. I shivered. Cheese niblets! I hope this jumping into the crook thing wasn't going to become a permanent habit. Just then, Bitsy flew over, waving excitedly. Knight, guess what? She cried. I found another little gift. Come, check it out. Oh no, not another little gift. With a groan, I sank under the water. Blub, blub, blub. Call the dragons! Eventually, I had to come up for air. After all, I am a mouse, not a fish. I climbed out of the freezing brook, my teeth chattering. Then I headed back to the sunny patch of grass to dry off. I was beginning to feel like I was stuck in the middle of a horrible movie in which the day kept repeating itself over and over. Cheer up, Knight, Sterling's voice broke into my thoughts. You don't have to examine any more evidence. It's clear that the dragon passed through here not long ago, maybe just before dawn. I shivered again, and this time it wasn't from the cold water. That meant I hadn't been dreaming when I thought I heard a dragon the night before. It really had been there. I decided we'd better get going. Time was running out, and we needed to find that dragon egg. Too bad it was taking us so long to travel to the kingdom. Where was a good taxi cab when you needed one? At that moment, Bitsy flew over my head and I watched as she zigzagged quickly between the trees. Suddenly, I was hit with a fab mouse idea. Why didn't I think of that before? Sterling, quick, call the dragons. Then we can really move, I said. The princess played her silver flute, and within minutes the dragons arrived. We climbed about Sparkle and the dragon of the rainbow and took off in search of more dragon traces. We found lots of clues, and they all seemed to come from a dragon of fire. First, the soft grass in the field was all torn up, as if someone had landed heavily on the ground. Second, the water in a nearby lake was muddy and churned up, as if an enormous creature had splashed around in it. Third, there were many tree trunks that were burnt and darkened from smoke. The damage could have been made by a dragon who couldn't control his fire, such as one who was sneezing because of a really bad cold. Finally, there was a 3 deep claw marks scratched into a rock, a sure sign of a furious dragon. The only strange thing about this clue was that this dragon had 3 claws, not 4. I had seen similar scratches before, but where? That night I racked my brain, trying to remember. All that thinking made me sleepy. Before I knew it, I fell into a deep sleep. What a nightmarish night! I dreamed that I was being chased by fire-breathing dragons with sharp claws and red eyes. One dragon stood out from the pack. It was Fire Breath 3. He grabbed me and whispered menacingly, "You will pay for this." Suddenly, I understood everything. I woke up squeaking, "Help!" Immediately, Sterling appeared at my side with her sword drawn. "What happened, knight? What is threatening you? I'll get them. Just point me in the right direction," she cried. Did I mention the princess loves to do battle? Well, no, you see, they're not here. It was a nightmare with Fire Breath 3 and the scratches, the bad cold. The onion smell and the broken nail. The sprained paw and the hot pepper seeds, I babbled. Sterling held up her hand. "It's okay, knight. Just try to calm down and start from the beginning," she urged. So I took a deep breath and spilled out the whole story. It had taken me a while, but I had finally figured out that the dragon we were tracking was also the one who had stolen the dragon egg. First, the scratches on the rock were missing a claw mark, like the ones I had seen in the cave. Fire Breath 3 had a broken claw. Second, I had found a piece of red cloth on the heavy unhinged gate in the cave. Fire Breath 3 had a sprained wrist, possibly from breaking the gate, and was always dressed in red. 3. The dragon we were following loved to eat red peppers and had a cold, just like Fire Breath 3. 4. I saw Fire Breath 3 sniffing an onion to make himself cry. He was only pretending to be upset over the stolen egg. And after going back all the clues, I realized that dragon was none other than the nasty-tempered king of the dragons of fire, Fire Breath 3. Now the only thing I had to figure out was why Fire Breath had stolen the egg. Next morning, we got back on the road, following the dragon tracks. At least now we knew who we were chasing. It wasn't long before we realized we were entering a new area, the land of the trolls. Trolls. Trolls are brutal creatures who hardly ever wash and have disgusting habits. They live underground in dirty, dark caves. They stink so badly you can smell them from miles away. When they go to battle, they bang their drums. Drum de drum drum, drum de drum drum. In the land of the trolls. Run! As soon as we got near the tribes of the trolls, my heart began beating out of my fur. I remembered the evil creatures from my previous visit to the kingdom of fantasy. Let me just say I'd rather stick my tail in a blender than meet up with a troll. I took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. It didn't work. Then I remembered I had the brand of light. If danger was nearby, it would warn us with a blue light. Slowly, I looked down at my paw. Holy cheese! It was lit up like a Christmas tree. Run! I shrieked. Suddenly, we heard the trolls' drums. Drum de drum drum, drum de drum drum. Soon, from the top of a tall cliff, the trolls began throwing enormous rocks at us. Then they bombarded us with deadly spears and arrows. They were aiming at the dragon's wings, trying to make us fall. If they caught us, they would turn us into troll hamburgers. They yelled, "Get them! Crush them! Eat them! Must them!" I closed my eyes and tried to think of a plan. Oh, how had I gotten myself into such a mess? I was a good mouse. I never ran with scissors. I ate all my fruits and vegetables. Well, except for the Brussels sprouts. I'm not crazy about them. I was still thinking about vegetables when the fire dragon was hit. He began wobbling beneath me. Suddenly, I knew what I had to do. I yelled to Sterling, "Princess, we'll stay here, and you steer the dragons away. If the trolls see them fly away, they will think we have all left. Then Skiverhopper, Bitsy, and I will sneak in." Sterling wasn't too happy about leaving us, but I told her it was our only choice. Once we lost the trolls, the rest of us could keep going. It was our only hope of finishing our mission and recovering the last dragon egg. It was our only chance to save the dragon species. A little while later, the dragon of the rainbow set us down on the top of a hill that was covered in troll garbage. Someone really needed to give that bunch a lesson on littering. What a dump! Sterling said goodbye reluctantly and mounted Sparkle. Before she left, I told her, "If we don't make it back in 3 days, send someone to look out for us." Oh, how I hoped we'd make it back alive. The dragon of the rainbow took off too and flew away with Sterling and Sparkle. I have to admit, watching them go made me feel sick into my stomach. I hope the trolls were not following. Now that our groups had split up, we were weaker and more defenseless. I was so nervous, my left eye had begun to twitch and my paws were shaking. How embarrassing! We trudged carefully through the kingdom of trolls, trying to avoid the prickly bushes, rotten heads of cabbage, leftover bones, and spoiled food strewn everywhere. How gross! Unfortunately, the brand of light was still glowing blue, so I knew we were still in grave danger. I was a furry bundle of nerves. Any minute, I expected to hear the drum of the troll drums and see their ugly faces popping up from behind, some leap arrows drawn. To keep calm, Skibblehopper began to recite a poem and Bitsy began to sing softly. I was about to try whistling a happy tune to cheer myself up when suddenly I remembered Arctica's gift. It wasn't a gift that I could touch, but at that moment I knew it could save our lives. It was a gift of silence. Shh, I warned the others. If the trolls hear us, we're dead. We continued along in a tense silence. It was so dark I could barely see my paw in front of my snout. We were trying not to follow the main paths, so the going was slow. By the time we reached the cavern, it was already evening. A sign hung over the entrance. It was written in a Phattasian alphabet. The sign was hanging in one rusted nail, and the writing was smudged and hard to read. Yep, even their handwriting was messy. I stuck my face as close to the sign as I could get without stepping on an old soup can and read the words out aloud. It said, Cavern of Secrets. Secrets? I wondered what that meant. What kind of secrets could the trolls have? The secrets of being a slob, of never bathing, of steering clear of deodorant, or picking your nose daily. The more I thought of it, the more disgusted I became. Then I noticed something else is written in very tiny letters under Cavern of Secrets. The writing was so small I couldn't make it out. Oh well, it was no turning back. We entered the cavern with hearts thumping. The small writing under the Cavern of Secrets said, Welcome to the Troll Cavern. First frog soup, then stuffed mouse. As we entered the cave, the brand of light on my paw got brighter. Rancid rat hairs. That place must have been crawling with trolls. My whiskers trembled with fear and my paw shook. I was dying to run screaming from the cave, but I couldn't. I knew the others were counting on me. Bitsy was hiding in my helmet and Skibblehopper was croaking softly. Don't worry, Knight, the frog said. If the trolls devour you, I will write a long, wonderful poem about you. I won't even mention your shaky paws. I rolled my eyes. I didn't want to tell him that if they ate me, they'd probably eat him. Even though the cave was dark, I had the feeling that thousands of eyes were spying on us. It was creepy. Then, without warning, we began to hear voices whispering in the darkness. Well, look at that. They fell for our trick. I was smart to make the letters so small. If they didn't read the sign properly, that's too bad for them. Should we grab them? Let's eat them as an appetizer. I'm the boss. I say first frog soup, then stuffed mouse. Yikes! Something told me that I should have done a better job of reading the sign at the entrance to the cave, especially the fine print. A moment later, the trolls grabbed us, shut us into their enormous dark pantry, and left. Festering fruitcake! We had walked right into the kitchen of the troll cafeteria. From the smell, I could tell that the room was filled with stinky troll food. I walked over to the heavy wooden door of the pantry and peered through the keyhole. There was a set of long tables full of jugs and chipped plates. In a corner with a big fireplace with lit fire and an enormous pot that boiled menacingly. Wooden spoons, huge forks, and pots of all sizes were hanging from the walls and dripping some kind of horrible greasy liquid. A nice giant omelette. As I was checking out the room, the trolls suddenly appeared. With them was a lady troll wearing a dirty chef's hat and carrying a giant pot in her hand. "Okay, listen up, Mixie," said the biggest troll to the lady chef. "I want those pests cooked up nice and crispy. I want to be able to hear their little bones crunch." Too bad that annoying dragon lover Stilton didn't come with them. I always dreamed of having a princess at my table. Mixie chuckled. "You mean on your table, Chef Horrid," she said. I couldn't believe those rotten trolls. For the next few minutes, the trolls went on and on about their next meal. They went on and on about us. The other troll complained that there wouldn't be enough to eat. "The rodent is nice and chubby, but the frog is super skinny," he whined. "Me? Chubby?" I was so insulted I wanted to burst out of the pantry screaming, "Who are you calling chubby?" Don't get me wrong. I knew I had put on a few extra pounds recently. But it was all my cousin Brownie Whisker's fault. She had opened up a new bakery and had been sending me tons of samples. Yum! I was dreaming about mini cheesecakes when a troll's voice broke into my thoughts. "I have an idea. What if we made a giant omelette? Maybe we could even use the dragon's egg," the troll suggested. At this, the leader of the trolls jumped up. No one touches the egg." Everyone gave their word as a troll, he reminded. "Especially Boss," another troll snickered. Everyone knows how little a troll's word is worth. Too bad for the great big fool Fire Breath. What a dunce to trust a troll. They laughed. He he he, he he he. Finally, they linked their grubby arms and sang this song. "We are rude and very smelly. We have giant big old bellies. We like to crush and chew on bones. Don't call us up. We have no phones. We live in caves. They're creepy and dark. But we're not scared and never weepy. Our teeth are rotten and beware. A fight with a troll is never fair." Babum, babum, babum. I was fuming. So it really was true. Firebreath 3 was a big old liar and a big old traitor. Why had he done it? I had no idea. But I had no time to figure it out either. There were two more important problems I needed to solve. First, how not to become the daily special, and second, how to save the dragon egg. The dragon egg. That got me thinking. The trolls had spoken about making an omelette. Maybe the dragon egg was hidden in the dark pantry with us. I did my best to check out every corner of the pantry. Too bad all I could find was pile after pile of disgusting troll food, like 7 barrels of sour lemon rinse, 4 rounds of wandering cheese. The cheese moves by itself because of all the worms. 2 jars of stinky sock extract, 12 tubs of super concentrated mold, 81 cans of candied black ooze, onion flavored, 15 buckets of slimy slug juice, and 5 jars of chopped toenails. Yuck! The troll food was so gross, I almost fainted. What kind of crazy lunatic would want to eat toenails and drink slug juice? Even if I were starving to death, I would never try those things. Well, maybe I would try the sour lemon rinse. I did love these sour lemon candies my nephew had one Halloween. I was remembering those lemon candies when I spied something strange. Tucked in one dark corner, an enormous cloth sack was sitting on a pile of hay. What was inside? Slowly, I opened the snack. Cheese niblets! It was the dragon egg! It was speckled with pink and blue splotches and shined softly in the darkness. When I reached out to touch it, I felt something moving inside. Holy cheese! There was something alive and growing inside that egg, and I knew exactly what it was. It was a baby dragon. I was so excited I almost let out a loud squeak by accident. Luckily, I remembered the trolls waiting to eat us just outside the door. Instead, I put my ear up to the egg's shell and listened happily to the steady heartbeat inside. Babum, 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 babum. It sounds weird, but at that moment I felt a special bond with the egg. Well, not with the egg itself, but with the baby growing inside. After all, the baby dragon was defenseless and needed our help. I vowed I would do my best to protect it. Don't worry, I whispered to the egg. We'll save you. Take this. A moment later, Bitsy flew over and landed on my helmet. Knight, I've been thinking, this troll thing isn't looking so safe. They're getting ready to fry you up. Maybe now would be a good time for me to fly off and ask for help. I can find Sterling and guide her here with the rest of the silver dragons, she suggested. I hated to see Bitsy go, but I knew she was right. It would be hard enough to escape from the trolls without the egg, but now we'd have to figure out a way to bring it with us. Good luck, I whispered to Bitsy as she slid through the keyhole and flew off in search of help. With a sinking heart, I watched Bitsy fly away. Who knew if we'd ever see the little ladybug again? Still, there was no time to get weepy. Time was running out. We needed to come up with a way to escape. I had a bad feeling that the cook was getting ready to turn us into frog soup, stuffed mouse, and dragon omelette. Unfortunately, no ideas were coming to mind. No ideas. In fact, the more I thought, the less I came up with. Rats, I was so scared my brain had turned to mush. Distractedly, I slipped my paw into my bag to look for something that could be useful. I pulled out the rosebud. Now what could I do with that? I stared at the flower, feeling desperate. Oh, how I wished I were home in my cozy mouse hole. Then the door burst open. It was Mixie, the troll cook. Without thinking, I held up my paw that was holding the rose toward Mixie and squeaked, "Take this!" Then I closed my eyes, expecting to feel Mixie's rolling being bashing me over the head at any second. But nothing happened. The blow never came. I couldn't believe it. What was Mixie waiting for? After a while, I opened my eyes. The lady troll stood with a rolling pin hanging on her side and tears in her eyes. No one has ever given me a rose before, she said, and with that she began to bawl her eyes out.